What is the most important thing it takes to grow an amazing company?
Amazing leaders that can really influence a team, motivate them, point them in the right direction, and along with that, those individuals buying into that leadership and communication, all that plays a part into growing an amazing company.
Have you always been at good companies?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I've only worked at 2 other companies prior to Rescue Air, both in California. One company I was there for almost 10 years. The next company I was there for almost 2 years. One was a little different aspect because it was doing contracting work with the utilities, so low-income programs. So it was a total different mind shift than getting into your normal marketing rate company like Rescue Air is, where it's you're selling stuff. So
You bet.
total different mind shift. So it was different.
Okay, and the company in between, of course, well known.
Yeah.
What do people have to learn? And, you and I have had this conversation about the right people, and the right people that got you to where you're at may not be the same ones to get you to the next level.
For sure.
What all do you have to learn? Because there's a lot out there to learn. Tradesmen built America. Not policymakers or desk jockeys, but hardworking, blue-collared men and women. Join me, Roger Wakefield, on conversations with some of the nation's most successful skilled laborers. This is the Trade Talks.
There's a lot to learn. I mean, some of the benefits that I have is I was an installer. I understand the field aspect. The second company that I worked for, they really forced their junior leaders to learn the numbers, to understand your numbers, understand your goal, your KPIs, where you need to get to, and drive the team towards that. I get it. We always talk about numbers and revenue, and a lot of employees get tired of hearing about the numbers, but the bottom line to grow a business, you got to meet numbers.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line, so there's a way of communicating that to where it's not just the dreaded, well, all you want me to do is sell stuff, or all you want me to do is go make money and this and that. It's like, no, I want you to make more money,
Right.
so that we all could benefit from it as a whole. But they really force their junior leaders to learn the numbers, learn the goal, understand gross margin, understand that kind of stuff. So I think to take it to the next level, people need to start learning that kind of stuff.
You said a lot of plumbers like, look, you just want me to sell.
Yeah.
And I heard it put one day that, a doctor's walking down the hallway at the hospital and he sees a name on the wall and it's one of his patients. And he walks in and says, oh my God, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And the guy's laying in bed and he's got both arms in a cast and heart monitors, all that hooked up. And he's laying there and listening to the beep and he's got oxygen on. And dude, what are you doing here? He says, well, doc, he said, after I left your office yesterday, I had a heart attack. I died twice. They revived me in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. He says, isn't that crazy? And doc says, no. He says, man, when you were in there getting this done, your blood pressure was so high, we thought it was going to pop. Mm-hmm. He says, well, why didn't you tell me? He says, well, I was just there to put casts on your arms.
Yeah.
Plumbers need to hear that story. Plumbers, HVAC techs, electricians, I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
We walk into houses every day. And if we walk into a house, and this happened to me, I walk to look at a major remodel. I'm checking everything. The ladies want to add another laundry room, move it, make a bigger closet, do all kinds of things. I go up into her attic, looking at the job. She's got 2 water heaters that are like 14 years old above her ceiling. We only do that in Texas, I think.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, hey, look, I want to let you know, before you remodel this room, you got 2 water heaters up here that could go at any time.
Right.
And she says, look, I'm not worried about the water heaters. I need a bigger closet. Let's look at moving the laundry room, adding it over here, do this, and we'll talk about that later. I said, I will have you a price by next Wednesday. She calls me Tuesday. Said, I should have listened to you. I said, what do you mean? She said, one of those water heaters ruptured. I was out of town. The entire ceiling in her 2-story living room, the entire ceiling is in the living room floor. Half the kitchen ceiling is in the kitchen floor. And there were 2 inches of water when I walked in the house.
Wow.
And she said, at least you took the time to tell me.
Right.
We're not there to try to sell. Mm-hmm. We're there to give them options. And most people, you give them the option, say, hey, look, do you understand you've got a problem here? This is a red problem. Mm-hmm. This is something you need to address.
Yeah.
This is a yellow problem. You know what? It's not that big a deal. Your house isn't going to flood, nothing like that. But your garbage disposal may quit working. It's rusty and nasty and looks like it's on its last leg. It sounds bad. The bearings sound bad. It's not going to kill you. Everything else looks green. But we as plumbers and HVAC techs and electricians and even roofers need to walk in and have those conversations with people.
Yeah.
And most of the time, people are going to make decisions. Hey, look, you're right. I do need that. I didn't even know it. And I don't want a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really selling, or is that just, hey, look, here's the options. Here, let me make you aware of it.
Yeah, and that's a mindset thing. I mean, plumbers, technicians, they all need to understand that. It's like, look, I'm telling you, this is the stuff that's wrong. It's critical. It's vital. And if you don't fix it, it can get really bad. So what do you want to do? You know, but going back to, you know, if you're out there and your numbers are great and you're selling all this stuff, if you don't understand the material costs, your labor cost, and all that stuff that plays a factor into getting that gross margin, you or your team or your department could sell their face off
and still never make money.
But they're not profitable.
Yes.
You know, so I think that's the key to junior leaders and leaders, just to understand that aspect, how you become profitable and maintain that profitability.
I love that you use that word profitable, because whenever I have plumbers say, look, it's all about sales, it's all about numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, look, do you want us to be profitable or not?
Right.
Do you want to drive new vehicles, or do you want to drive old ragged vehicles?
Right.
Do you want us to be able to get new tools?
Yeah.
Because when you drop a camera off the roof, I got to buy a new camera.
Yep.
Do you want me to come to you and say, look, we don't have any money. We're not making profit. I can't afford a new camera. Take that camera you just broke and find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
It doesn't always work like that. Mm. And I remember joining a best practice group. I'm there for the executive perspective week, the first week. And one of the guys is talking. I said, look, man, what I need is, I just need y'all to teach me how to get my phone to ring. And he says, Roger, are you making profit on every job you have? I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
He said, you're not looking at your numbers. I said, no. He said, what if you're losing money on every job you have? Or what if you're losing money on 9 out of 10 jobs? Mm-hmm. And you make your phone ring more? Guess what happens? You lose money faster.
Right.
It was such an eye-opening moment. And the more I learned that week, the more I realized, look, man, I got a lot of things to work on.
Yeah.
Didn't even know what KPIs were at the time.
Yeah.
I know we had numbers we looked at, not the way we should have.
Right.
And not going into detail on them to know what they should be. And a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
Take a minute and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
So I'm Jon Wren. I am the HVAC install manager over at Rescue Air. I'm a transplant from California, so I moved out here back in 2022, served 10 years in the Army as an infantryman. I got 3 kids, a wife, and a good life.
Yeah, the good life part's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't think, matter of fact, I'm not going to say they don't think. A lot of people have been told their whole lives, if you don't go to college, you're never going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear that growing up?
Yeah.
Did you go to college?
I did. But
Okay.
Let me share a little story. So the only reason why I went to college, because like I said, I
served in the military as an officer.
I served in the military. When I got out, they just rolled out the new post 9/11 GI Bill, right?
Which is we'll pay for whatever you want to do.
Well, they also paid you cost of living allowance into your pocket. So I was getting paid to go to school. So it was like, I'm going to go to school and make money. You know, I got out in 2009 when the economy was trash.
Yeah.
There was no jobs, anything. So it was like, this is my option. I got to go to school, make some money, and go from there. So that's what I did. But I did get my bachelor's in business management. So I'm utilizing it at least.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. So that's good. Would you recommend, because, you know, a lot of kids are told that if you don't go to college, you'll never amount to anything. A lot of us walk right out of high school and get in the trades. Mm-hmm. Then later down the road, and we'll talk about this in a minute, we want to open our own business. Mm-hmm. But we don't have a business degree.
Right.
All we know about business is, look, I work hard, I work a lot of hours, I make somebody a lot of money, we think.
Yeah.
Would you recommend a business course for people wanting to open their own company?
It all depends on your goals and what you want to do. I think the grinder always succeeds. You know, the dude that's going to
find a way.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
They'll find a way, you know? So, I mean, at the end of the day, that's it. There's, you know, high school dropouts that have $1 million businesses.
Multi-million.
You know, so,
yes.
I mean, the grinder always succeeds. So how hard are you willing to work to become successful? That's just what it comes down to. The degrees and all that stuff, that's just add-ons, whatever. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that stance. I mean, like I said, I only went to school because I was getting paid to go to school.
Yeah, not a bad gig.
Yeah.
Not a bad gig.
Yeah.
Anybody want to pay me to learn anything? I mean,
Yeah.
I just say, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, the more people I talk to, the more I think I wish, not that I'd have gone to college, because I would have got kicked out of college. I went to high school for sports and girls.
Yeah.
Not even in that order. But my thought process is, I wish after, because, you know, a few years later, I went back to cosmetology school and massage school, and I wanted to learn different things.
Yeah.
I love learning.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, I'm doing social media now. It was something different. I learned it to make my phone ring for my plumbing company. And then it grew. People ask questions. Hey, I want to learn how to run a business, start a business, all these things. So we do everything for our audience. But after interviewing with Josh and talking to Josh when we were communicating about buying Texas Green Plumbing.
Yeah.
I remember walking in one day and talking to him. I said, look, you grew up wanting to be a great businessman because his parents were in business. They ran companies.
Yeah.
My parents worked hard. I was taught to work hard. So I grew up after getting into plumbing, wanting to be the best plumber, wanting to be a great plumber.
Yeah.
He wanted to be a great businessman. And I look back after selling my business and all that, looking back, you know, if I'd have known more about being a good businessman, the right way, the wrong way, what to do, what not to do. You know, we get in this, we don't even know what we don't know. I think that might be a good idea for somebody wanting to own their own business.
Yeah, it's also finding those right mentors and stuff that just kind of help you out, point you in the right direction, you know, networking and stuff like that. There's people out there that are willing to help
Everybody.
You bet. You know, especially in the trades industry. You know, you meet somebody, hey, if you ever need anything, give me a call. And you take that as just being a courtesy, but they really mean it.
You bet.
You know?
We love helping each other.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, you know, we look at the guys that either work for us or that we work with, wherever, and like, look, if I can tell you something that's going to make your job easier, or if I can teach you something that's going to make you more money, let me show you this.
Right.
And it's funny because after I got into best practice groups is where I started realizing more of that. Social media is even more like it. It's like, man, if I know something, I had 2 people in here yesterday that are wanting to open up studios. And I'm like, man, come in, see what I do. I'll show you everything. Take pictures, do whatever you want.
Right.
And I think that's how most good plumbing, HVAC, electrical companies are.
Yeah.
They're like, look, let me show you here's my KPIs. Here's what I look at.
Yeah.
And they're like, why would you show me that? Well, I want you to succeed.
Why not? Yeah.
There's 8 million people in the Dallas Fort Worth area. I can't get to all of them. And that's the way I look at it.
Exactly.
But the little mom and pop plumbing companies is a completely different attitude. And I used to tell people that in social media. I had a camera go down one day, and I was talking to one of my YouTube coaches in McKinney. He says, look, I'll bring you mine. Well, I've got like a $1,000 camera. He's got like a $12,000 camera. He's like, yeah, I'll bring you mine. Like, it's like a $12,000 camera you're talking about. He's like, okay, I'm not using it. And I thought, wait, if my sewer machine broke down and I drove down the street to a plumbing company and said, hey man, can I borrow your sewer camera? I got a job. They'd be like, no, just tell me the address. We'll go take care of it. But it's a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
But I love when we get to the mindset. It's like, look, I just want to help people. I figured out what it took to be successful, and I want to help people.
Yeah.
You talked about mentors. Who were the mentors that really helped you learn and grow?
At my first company that I was with, the owner over there, his name was Mauricio. He kind of brought me up through the ranks. I was an installer, and I got to the point to where it was like, man, he realized like you got a lot more talents there. You know, what do you want to do? So I transitioned into the office and kind of grew from there. I went from literally the warehouse parts runner guy to basically the GM at that company in a 10-year period. But yeah, he taught me a lot of stuff, just business aspects and stuff like that. He was a great businessman. Really taught me being aware of what's going on, being able to adapt, being able to just, hey, things are going to come, and you just got to pivot.
Every day.
You just got to pivot every day, So I would say him, and then I would say I had, I was in the Army for 10 years. I had exceptional leadership in there, and if guys are, I looked at it like this: if these group of guys are willing to follow this one person into combat, that is like the epitome of leadership.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it was like, how did this, I mimicked that. Like, how did this guy influence these guys to do this, And it was really just communication, like trust, the respect, and that's what I have really instilled in my team that I currently have now. We have something really special going on, and it's pretty crazy to see. And
it's neat to nurture it and watch it grow.
Right.
Into
right. Yeah. I understand the fact that this isn't about me.
Right.
It's not about me. I mean, you met Melvin. Melvin was on here a couple months ago. And
the most exciting guy in the world.
Yeah. He bought a house just not too long ago, and like that made me feel like, oh my gosh, dude.
Look what we did.
So proud. You know? It was so awesome. I just had another guy that bought a house, Ed. He bought a house too, and it's like, it's not about me. It's watching these guys grow and the impacts that you're making in their lives. And they appreciate that from you as a leader as well.
I love the fact that us as leaders, we can help people learn and grow and do those things.
Yeah.
But the people have to want to learn and grow.
For sure.
There's a lot of people, I say this, there's a lot of young people these days that get in the trades, they just want a paycheck.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, don't just come in and want a paycheck. Come in and say, look, I want to be the very best that I can be. And I want to be amazing at it.
Yeah.
And, I go back, I wanted to be a really great plumber.
Yeah.
I wanted to know everything I could about it. When it got to the point that I realized, hey, you could actually study this stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. A whole new world.
Yeah.
But let's go back. What made you pick the trades to get into?
I actually landed in the trades off a fluke. It's kind of interesting story. So, like I said, I got out of the Army in 2009, and my goal was to go into law enforcement. I was going to go that direction.
In Los Angeles, probably one of the craziest places in the world to go into law enforcement.
And it just never panned out. So I was looking for a job, and my wife, who's a school teacher, one of her students' parents worked for the utilities. So she started talking to him, hey, my husband's looking for a job. So he was like, send me his resume. So one thing led to another, and I landed at a company that did HVAC. I couldn't read a model number. I couldn't, like, the grinder always succeeds, So I dove in and just started getting after it, Guys started calling out sick. Do you want to go out to the field? Every opportunity, I'm going to take it. Let's go get it. And then just slowly just chipped away from, a parts runner to a helper to lead installer to a field supervisor, and just kind of climbed up from there, And that's how I got into this, and I've loved it ever since. I learn every day. So
you started at the bottom.
Yeah.
When y'all start rescue people out at Rescue Air, a lot of times it's a parts runner.
The parts runner.
It's like, hey, you don't have anything to do, grab a broom.
Yeah.
Sweep the floor.
Yeah.
It needs it.
Yeah. I got a kid in my department right now. His name's Austin. He was a parts runner as well. Man, the future is bright for that kid. So, I mean, he's got an awesome lead that Saul, you met Saul. Saul's his lead, and just training him to just, he's
conquer the world
every day. And it's pretty impressive to see. So I'm excited for these guys and watching them. And it's just like, man, it just blows my mind on where I could see where they're going to go. And it's like, makes me proud.
No, and I can see it in your eyes.
Yeah.
So it's neat. And I'm the same way. Whenever I was in the union, you could tell you've got these apprentices that want to learn.
Yeah.
And not just want to learn, they want to learn the right way, and they want to learn how to do it better. And they'd come to you, and it's the questions that they ask. And, I look back at, 5 or 6 different apprentices I had that are now superintendents,
right,
that are now running big major jobs.
Right.
And it's like, you know what, man, I love that I was able to help that person get to where they're at. And it just helped them. I didn't do it. It's not me. But you know what? I was able to help them and guide them and teach them something.
Yeah.
That they said, look, there's value in this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge. So into utilities, into HVAC, I guess that's because you weren't smart enough to be a plumber.
Here we go.
Sorry. It is, there's always that opportunity. But now you work with plumbers and HVAC techs.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
And I was lucky because when I was in the union, I became a general superintendent, and I'd be on some projects that had plumbing, HVAC, pipe fitting, welding, and get to work with all the crews.
Yeah.
I learned so much working with them, building cooling towers.
Mm-hmm.
I still love learning.
Yeah.
And growing. I like the way you talk to you'd learn and then move up, and learn and move up.
Yeah.
You didn't start at the top.
No.
Does anybody?
No.
They really, I mean, what'd you know about HVAC when you got in?
Nothing.
And I have people tell me every day, I can't get in plumbing. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. You just got to grind. You got to want it. You got to want it. You got to want to learn. You got to want to grow and be a sponge. Just be a sponge. There's guys out there that are going to show you the way. You just got to accept it. And hey, it may be tough talk. They may have some tough love for you.
As soon as you said that, that's exactly what I thought.
We grew up in the industry like years ago where we probably had some of the managers that was like, man, if you did that nowadays,
oh yeah,
it'd be a different ball game. But
HR would be calling you every day.
Yeah. So I mean, but you just take it with a grain of salt and understand the guy has the best interest for you and wants you to learn. So roll with it and keep going.
And I love that because I've had different people in here. Randy, my son.
Yeah.
He says when he walked on a job and the superintendent's walking him around, here's so-and-so, here's so-and-so. He'd always point at the old guy. He'd say, hey, I want to work with him.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't. Nobody wants to work with him.
Right.
He's like,
right.
Oh, that's why I want to work with him.
Yeah.
And it's the old crusty guy that he's hard to work for because he wants everything done perfect.
Exactly.
Done right the first time. And he's gonna
make you go back and fix it.
You bet.
If something doesn't meet his expectations.
And he may let you put it in completely wrong.
Yeah.
Just to show you, look, that was wrong because you didn't listen to me when I told you to do this.
Yep.
And now do you see why? And it's like, wow, yeah. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I love learning from the old guys.
Yeah.
It's neat.
Yeah.
They have stories to tell.
For sure.
They have ways to do it that maybe we're not teaching these ways anymore.
Yeah.
So it is really, really neat.
Yeah.
As you came up, what made you want to be really, really good?
I think that's just in my bloodline. Just to really just be the best and do your best every day, just show, getting the hard jobs. Don't complain about the hard jobs. Just go get them done. You know how to do them, just go get them done. You get a little, why am I always getting those hard ones? But it's because you're trusted to get the job done right, So, just keep grinding and be, put yourself out there. Hey, I got it. Every opportunity, take it, just roll with it. So
I used to love that. I was taught volunteer for the jobs nobody wants.
Right.
Number one, you're going to learn from them.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, you're going to learn how to do them where it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Hard jobs are normally hard because people don't understand them, or it's going to take manual labor.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that.
Right.
And it's neat because you get that reputation of, look, Mike, you'll eat anything. Hey, Roger will do anything. Give it to him. He'll do it. And he'll find a way to do it.
Yeah.
And I used to love jobs like that. I was talking to a guy the other day. I remember working on a Saturday out at TI, and the God, I think he's the president of the company that ran TI where we were at. And he put me on this one project. And he said, it's going to take a while. He said, you're going to get started, and then we'll bring other people over that are working on different things to help you finish up. And I said, it's not going to take me that long.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and said, yeah, it will. I said, okay. And he had me an apprentice over in a different building than everybody else. At about 10 o'clock, he came over to check on me. And he looks at me, and I've got the whole piece built on the floor at the fab. And it's, PVDF pipe, so it's a little flexible.
Mm-hmm.
kind of like PEX, not the same, but high purity.
Yeah.
And he looks at it, he said, why did you do this? I said, because now I just got to stick it in. He says, no. He said, you're going to have to make welds up there in the ceiling with this machine. And I said, no, I'm not. And he just kind of put his head down. He said, yes, you are. I said, do me a favor. Help me for just a second. And he kind of looked at me and said, okay. I said, I'm going to take this end up on a lift. My apprentice is going to be on the other lift. I said, I kind of want you to take this rope and lift it here to give me a little bit middle support. I don't want to break a weld.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at me and said, okay. We pull this piece up and I start pushing it back and basically snake it, put a big curve in it, make it go up through these deals and go through the hangers already put in. And as it started coming into place, he just started knotting. And we got it in. You put your unions together, together, tighten up a couple of clamps and came down. By 10:30, we were done with the job that he thought would take till about 6 that evening. And I said, do you want us to go help the other people? He said, no, y'all go home.
Yeah.
I said, no, I came into work a full day. He said, oh, you did. You worked a full day. He said, this surprised me.
Yeah, that's cool.
You just got to look outside the box.
Right.
But I learned that from watching other people and learning from them. Don't always think there's only one way to do things.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think that. A lot of people believe that. And I think it's people like you that come up that, look, I want to be really, really good and learn to do it right and learn to do the jobs nobody else wants to do.
It's just being prepared as well. I mean, you look at somebody's tool bag, how organized is that thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can you reach in there and grab a tool out of there and
Without ever looking
at it and know what you're grabbing, you know?
Yeah.
And that comes from the military. Like that's just in my brain, you know? Like I could have reached in a rucksack and grabbed a pair of socks out and not have to look at where they were, you know? Yeah. So, I mean, it's just part of the game, but like being prepared makes you more efficient, you know? And that's it.
Yeah. I had a young apprentice that actually owned his own company. He had hired a master to work for him so he could do what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And he came in one day and he says, look, I'm designing a van. And he said, literally, I want every tool, every fitting, everything to have a place. That way, literally, you know where everything goes at every moment. You can literally look in the van and see if anything's missing.
Right.
And I thought, you know what? You're going to be good. You're going to be really good.
Yeah.
Because at the very beginning, he's already focused on systems and processes
that
are going to help him do everything right each and every day.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't learn from plumbers like that. I had a 5-gallon bucket. In the bottom of it, you're going to find it sooner or later.
Yeah.
But now there's bags coming out, you know, Vito Pro bags and all this. Yeah. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's a spot for everything.
Yeah.
And if you know, hey, this is in the front, this is in the back, this is where it is, it makes your job easier.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah.
Before you came to Texas, 2 different companies,
mm-hmm.
What else did you do before that? Did you do anything before HVAC in the military?
No. So before the military, I mean, I was 18 when I went in the Army,
okay.
You know, so I was in the Army for 10 years. So when I got out, I jumped right into the trade to start, you know, I went to school and then got into doing HVAC. So that's all I've done since.
Man, that's pretty cool. So
yeah.
I've tried a couple of things before. You know,
yeah.
Had jobs in high school, and then after high school, I've tried a couple of other things. I got into plumbing my junior year of high school, and then got back into it not long after I got out. And then I get out and try a couple of things. I always come back to the trades.
Yeah.
What makes you love the trades?
You learn a little bit about everything. You learn, you know, the electrical aspect, plumbing aspect, the heating and air aspect. I mean, if something was to happen at my house, if I can't fix that, I got a network of people that can come give me a hand. Yes. You know what I mean? So, and that helps out so much. So, you know, and let's face it, 95% of kids graduating high school are not mature enough to go to college. They're going in there trying to figure out a path and just wasting.
They're trying to grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just wasting money trying to figure it out, you know? So the military was the best decision that I made as far as, you know, I always say it was real and it was fun, but it was never real fun.
Right.
But yeah, that was the best decision. It helped me grow up, helped me figure out like, hey, I may not know what I want to do when I get out of here, but I have the discipline embedded in me now that whatever it is, I'm going to make it happen, so that's where it's at.
What would you tell somebody graduating high school? I mean, we're probably halfway through the last semester. They're getting ready to graduate. They don't know what they want to do. They've been told their whole life, if you don't go to college, you're never going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
If one of your neighbors came over and said, hey, John, look, I don't know. I'm not sure what to do in my life. What would you recommend to them?
I would recommend definitely coming into the trades. I think we're in a point in society where there's so many people that have college degrees
that aren't using
them for one, and there's not enough tradesmen, and we're to a point right now where like we need those tradesmen to help grow and everything, so the money is there. Get in the trades, go start part running. You could start as a parts runner and you learn all those parts and all those widgets that go with that job, and then somebody catches your eye and you grow from there. You'll catch the eye of somebody in that department or plumbing department, HVAC department, wherever it is. It's like, I want that kid on my team, and then it just takes off from there, and it's all growth. It's all a process and everything. But if you're willing to invest in that, it'll pay off dividends in the end.
And when you run parts, be the best parts runner.
Yeah.
It starts right there.
Right.
Do this job better than anybody's ever done it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop at 7-Eleven and play video games.
Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna run, pick up the part. I'm gonna get it where it goes. I'm gonna call and see, hey, do I need to pick up anything before I come back?
Exactly.
Communication.
I mean, let's face it. I would rather be a parts runner than flipping burgers.
I did that for a while. I did that for a while. So now I get it.
I mean, I think it's a cool job coming out of high school as a parts runner. Like, hey,
yeah, I work for a plumbing HVAC company.
This part and drive it around, like, no problem. I got it.
You bet.
So,
what can parts runners expect to start out at? Not just Rescuer, but like, and I'm not gonna say across the country because it's gonna be different. California is different than Texas. Then it's different than New York.
Yeah.
But Texas, ballpark.
Anywhere from $14 to $16 an hour, somewhere around there. Usually, I'll just give you an example of how we do it is, they'll come in and they're, we always, with the parts running, it's basically, we use them as the needs of the company. If I don't have so many jobs with my install teams, I can't afford to promote a parts runner into my department, right? So it's always the needs of the company, and those guys need to understand that. So that communication needs to be with them. But like, they're usually in that department, parts running for about a year, get through a summer. Summers are crazy with that because, I mean, there's equipment going all over the place and everything, So, but yeah, $14 to $16 an hour, and you really just get in the door and you start learning. You start learning, and like I said, you'll catch the eye of a manager of a department and be like, I want that guy on my team.
Mm-hmm.
How do we figure out a path to move him over? And then it takes off from there.
And there's always a path.
Yeah.
It's not just, hey, this is where you're at. You're never going to be in a position, oh, wait, you're a great parts runner. We're never going to move you up.
Right.
I remember that when I was a plumber in the field, one of the superintendents came up to me and said, dude, you're never going to make foreman. Yeah. I'm like, why not? He said, you're too good in the field. Yeah. He said, I don't want to promote you.
Yeah.
He says, you make things happen. Eventually, it happened.
Yeah.
But, man, when you get in, like you said, somebody's going to see it.
Yeah.
They're going to say, hey, this kid's a hard worker.
Right.
If we can teach him how to do this, man, he can do good.
Yeah. The hard part, I think, is that a lot of people want it now. And I think a lot of it comes from social media and stuff like that. Instant gratification, I want it now, and I don't want to have to work for it. So I don't want to spend a year or a year and a half or whatever time it takes in the parts department or whatever it means to move up. Like, I want it now. You got to understand, like, you got to invest the time, just like we all did.
Absolutely.
Just like we all did. We all paid our dues. Pay your dues. It'll pay off.
I spent so much time on a shovel, on a broom, whatever it takes. It's like, whatever has to be done has to be done.
Right.
And believe it or not, you're the lowest guy on the totem pole.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, it's funny because I remember working with plumbers that would grab a broom.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, this needs to be cleaned up. You just keep cutting rod, keep doing. I'm like, no, I'll clean that up. It's like, You're doing good. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right now, there's 1 million unfilled trades jobs across the United States.
Yeah.
This video is sponsored by Leak Pro. Go check out leak-pro.com. When y'all were busy this last summer, how many more installers or service technicians could you have hired?
4 more crews.
Not just
Two-man
people.
crew, two-man crews. So
Yeah.
so 8 installers. Service techs, probably another 6 of them. I mean,
Plumbers.
plumbers too. I mean, the summers in Texas are pretty wild. So this past summer was my second summer out here, you know.
And this one wasn't a bad summer.
It wasn't a bad summer. The first summer that I was out here in
Was
2022
ridiculous.
was out of control.
Yes.
It was out of control. I was very, very surprised.
What did I get myself into?
Yeah. But
I wonder if California will take me back.
no, I don't want to go.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
But there's always a need. We're always hiring. We're always looking for talent. We're always looking to bring guys in, you know, so if you're out there, come on down.
Yeah. And $15 an hour, say 14 to 16. That's twice minimum wage in Texas.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a bad place to start.
Yeah. Not a bad place to start.
If I'd have known that I could well, when I walked out of high school, I got into plumbing, but it wasn't for 15, 16 bucks an hour. I mean, that's $600 a week.
Yeah.
Man, when I walked out, I was making like 160
Right.
a week.
Yeah.
100, I think I carried home like 100 to 110, something like that. Man, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Got some money.
Yeah.
Got some money
Yeah.
now. What trade, now that you've been in and seen how amazing plumbers are, what trade do you really think's the, and look, I do. I love HVAC. I'm a certified HVAC tech.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Never did it in the field.
Yeah.
Went to school, got my training, got my certs, passed everything. I've got my EPA cert, whole 9 yards. And I love HVAC because it's, like you said, it's a little plumbing involved.
Yeah.
A lot of electrical involved.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I first walked in, which I didn't become an electrician. I would have hated being an electrician.
Yeah.
At least that's my thoughts. But when I learned HVAC, it's like, wait, it's 90% electrical.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah. They said 9 times out of 10, when you go out on a service call, it's an electrical problem.
Yeah.
And it's like, wait, it's HVAC, it's not electrical. Oh, no.
Yeah.
What trade do you think is probably the best for anybody coming out? Or is it just, we're all different?
I think we're all different. I think it's just a preference on what direction you want to go. I'll give you an example. For me, I never went into like the service side of it. I always stayed an installer. And I think that was me wanting to be at one place for the whole day, create a masterpiece, see the customer satisfaction, how happy they are,
Freaking Lou.
and then go home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's where I kind of made a home at. So it really just depends on the person. You know, if you're a talker and you're a great communicator and all that stuff, yeah, you might want to go into the service or the sales side of it and go from there. I always stayed on the install side because I loved creating that masterpiece, seeing the customer, and then moving on to the next one.
And you're a good talker. You're a good communicator.
Yeah,
So, service might have been really good for you.
maybe.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
I love that, though, because there's different personality types.
for sure.
And, there are people out there, look, I don't like talking to people.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd be a great installer.
Yeah.
Because, look, job's pretty much sold for you. You pick up the equipment. You walk in, tell the customer, hello, we're going up in your attic.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
And you go to work. And pretty much, well, in summers, you come down about every 20 minutes
Yeah.
to get a drink of water, cool down, and go back up.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's you don't have to communicate with a lot of people.
Now, I will share this with my department. We've been doing something really cool over the past year, and my guys have really embraced the mindset of talking to customers. And as they're tearing out the equipment, the service guy or the sales guy is not seeing the internal issues of what's going on, So as the installers are tearing out the equipment, they see something, hey, there's something going on in your plant, whatever it may be. They'll come down to the customer, make them aware of what's going on, and then give them options on how to
You bet.
refrain it from happening in their new system. So we're seeing a huge uptick in the install department making sales to improve the quality of life of the customer as well. So that's really cool to see.
And that's really good because, I mean, a lot of times if you're changing out a unit, you don't see the inside of the plenum. You don't see the inside of the duct at the plenum.
Right.
And you get in there and it's black and moldy and green and, hairy looking and all that. It's like, okay, wait a minute.
So they'll have everything in the driveway. They'll bring the customer out and be like, you see all this? Like, this is how we can fix it. And the customer's like, well, I don't want that happening on this $20,000 investment that I just spent in.
Absolutely.
Let's fix it, So we're seeing a huge uptick, and it's really cool to see.
That's neat.
Yeah.
That is really neat. What kind of mindset does it take for somebody to come in and want to be an installer? Most people think.
Yeah.
And I ask people this all the time. When you got into HVAC, did you know what you were getting into really?
No.
Because when I got into plumbing, I just thought, okay, I'm going to be a plumber.
Yeah.
You have no idea. There's service, new construction, there's residential, there's commercial.
Yes.
There's union, there's non-union, there's industrial. HVACs, man, there's not just new construction service, there's install for service.
Mm-hmm.
There's residential and commercial, same type things.
Yeah.
What did you think you were getting into when your wife first said, oh my God, look, there's a guy that's got a...
When I first got in the industry, I took it as like a holdover job until a law enforcement thing would open up, and then it kind of just started to grow from there, Installing is a different mindset. It's the grinder every day of the summer, So,
and you say every day of the summer. When do we tell our guys summer starts?
It's
April?
usually about April time frame, end of March, April time frame. Although April to September, it's a grinder, man, and it's a special kind of person to be up there in those attics every single day, day in, day out. So,
and the guys get off 1 day a week.
Yeah,
during that time,
I'm going 6 days a week.
Yeah,
6 days a week. So, some guys when they come in, I'll have it's a mindset to where, well, I want to make more money. Well, we all want to make more money, but
here's how we do it.
Yeah, that's not the correct mindset to have. You got to be able to really keep it going, and just grind it out. And I have such an appreciation for what these guys do every day, man. Like it's crazy, every day what they're going through, and I'm there for them. What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? So, it's tough. It's hard work.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
I've seen the guys because I've got 2 AC units in my attic.
Yeah.
I've seen, matter of fact, I've got up there and helped.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, I want to see what all this is.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, how do y'all do this every single day?
Yeah.
It's a trip.
Yeah.
It is a trip.
And I could tell, towards the end of the day when I'm making my rounds, making phone calls, how you guys doing? Everything good? I could tell in their voice, we're smoked.
Yeah.
But we're just about there, so.
And then the attitude is, we're going to get up again, do it tomorrow.
And go again,
Every day.
Yeah. But for the guys that I have, they understand, during that time frame, stack your chips because we don't know what's going to happen wintertime.
Yeah.
So it's really financially prepare yourself, be responsible, and stack your chips, and then carry you through. So
how many guys do you run full crew in the summer?
So about 9-10 crews is what we're going with in the summertime.
How many you got right now?
I have 6 internal crews right now.
Okay.
So
yeah. and they're probably staying busy.
Yeah.
It's cold.
Staying busy right now. Yeah.
There's duct cleaners. There's all kinds of things.
There's little stuff that they, that we're keeping them busy and having them go to. They might not like the stuff that they're doing right now, but hey, it's money. It's payback, so go get it.
Not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Somebody wanting to start their own HVAC company. They've got years of experience. They've got their license. They've got their TACLA certification. They've got everything they need. What would you tell somebody wanting to start their own company? Any advice? Because you've been with some really, really good companies.
Yeah, I would, man, there's so many aspects to starting your own company. I think it's really, having a good, strong network of people that can help you get to where you want to go. Have a great plan. What are you going to get into? What are you going to start doing? Are you just going to... Sometimes people want to do too much at once. Like, we're going to go into electrical. We're going to do this. It's like, find the one thing that you want to focus in on.
Mm-hmm. Get really
good at that, and then dabble into something else, So I think that's where you start, is just really find where you want to, what you really want to get good at, and then go build it from there. So
plumbing is easy. You get a truck.
Yeah.
Get some fittings.
Yeah.
Throw your tools in it.
Right.
Unless you're building new construction or something.
Yeah.
But you can open a residential plumbing company as long as you got the license, the insurance.
Right.
Find a way to make your phone ring.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
HVAC, there's a little more to it.
Yeah. A little more.
Especially because when you get into the sales and the installs and replacements.
And your equipment pricing and stuff like that, your material costs, like all that stuff, bigger companies, let's face it, they got better pricing on equipment because they're doing so much volume.
How that
works.
You
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you gotta adapt to that and understand where your pricing's going to be at. And these startup companies, they could charge a little less because they don't have much overhead, but they're paying more for other things. You know what I mean? So got to face that as well.
Yeah, most of them are working out of their garage.
Yeah. Or storage.
Yeah. I've done. Man, I did it. I was so happy the day I moved from my garage to a boat storage.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, I am moving up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do. I get that. You say a network. How can HVAC techs in the field, techs, installers, thing like that, start building a network? What are your thoughts there?
They're in customers' houses every day.
They don't consider that a network. That's just customers.
No, that's not true. If you're going in there and you build that rapport. You build the rapport with those customers, and then next thing you know, it's like, hey, I know a guy. You know what I mean? It just happens like that, and how do we make friends?
You bet.
The same concept, so you start building that network from there, and then, it takes off.
It does. And it's funny how that works. Once I owned a company, I had to learn to get out and start networking, networking to grow my business.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing.
Right.
It's you get out and you get to meet people and talk to them. And at first I kept saying, look, plumbers don't network. Plumbers do not go out networking. And I remember first night I went, man, I've got a crowd around me and I'm talking plumbing and I'm waving my hands.
Yeah.
Here's what happened and y'all wouldn't believe it and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, well, what were you doing? It's like, well, people walked up and asked me about plumbing.
Yeah.
And then I just start telling them, and they're like, well, this problem happened at my house, or this happened at my house, or this is going on at the neighbors right now. Even networking like that, people say, well, hey, I had a company come out and do something. Here's what they charged me. Did they rip me off? I have no idea. I mean, they may have brought you the most value you could ever get.
Right.
And at the end of the day, that's a big part of it. There's so many companies out there that try to be mediocre.
Mm-hmm.
So many people start business, say, look, I'm just going to charge less than everybody else, and I'm going to get all the work.
Mm-hmm.
They don't last very long, do they?
No.
They go broke faster than anybody else.
Yeah.
They're working more hours than your guys are.
Yeah.
Making less money.
Yeah.
And they're like, man, I don't know what's going on. I'm working 18 hours a day, and there's no money left over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, you're the cheapest guy in town.
Yeah.
And that's not a good reputation to have.
No.
I tell people all the time. People tell me, like, Roger, I made a video. I'm not the cheapest plumbing company in town.
Right.
Matter of fact, I'm closer to one of the more expensive.
Yeah.
And this guy, literally, we went to do a tunnel job one day. The dispatcher told me on the way, said, hey, the customer's at the house waiting because they heard you were coming. I said, cool. Well, we'd already tunneled up under it. We'd already done all that. So I get there and I climb under and I come back out and he's standing there. He said, man, I'm so happy to get to meet you. He says, can I tell you why I hired you? I said, oh my God, please. I love these stories. He said, Roger, you made a video saying you're not the cheapest plumber in town. He said, and I think I watched that video 4 or 5 times. And I realized I don't want the cheapest plumber. I don't want the plumber that's using cheaper materials.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the plumber that's going to take shortcuts or try to reuse stuff. He said, Roger, I realized I don't want the cheapest plumber. I want the best. There's a lot to that in there.
Yeah.
How much training do your guys get to do things better?
I mean,
service techs, I know a lot.
yeah.
Installers, there's not a lot of improvement. You're hanging the unit. You're getting.
Yeah. The process is pretty much, the same when it comes to the standard operating procedures on, putting the hung right in, getting all that stuff, making straight lines across with your sealant and all that stuff.
You bet.
So it's pretty much the same aspect on that. It's once we start getting into new equipment, like new refrigerants getting ready to come out, we're going to have to go through
Again.
again, have to go through a whole nother training about that, so we'll be bringing in Lennox to kind of walk us through that and proper handling procedures and welding procedures and all that stuff. So, that's coming pretty quickly here,
Yeah.
so, but for the most part with the installing process, it's repeat. There is little caveats, some different stuff that not every job's the same. I mean, if you're in an upflow in a closet, you may not have enough space on the header and you got to, problem solve.
It's a whole different world
Go
now.
from there, So, but we got some good leads in these crews that, we'll make it happen. Figure it out. Hey, I need to do this. I'm going to have to cut this closet up. Well, that's what we have to do. Let's make it happen. And we'll get handyman out and patch
Do
it
what
up.
we got to do.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I tell people that when they want to get in the trades or even start their own business, I tell them you've got to have the mindset, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
We've got a job to do.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, that pipe's going in, that unit's going in,
Yeah.
that duct's going in, whatever it is.
Right.
Whatever it takes. How do we make that happen?
Yeah.
And
it's just communicating with the customer. It's like if we have to pull new wire and we can't get wire from, the attic down to the first floor, hey, we're going to have to punch some holes in the drywall to kind of fish this thing through. Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Make it happen, especially if they're about high-end equipment and we have to do it,
Yeah.
So some things happen.
So you talk about high-end equipment. You talk about doing things, and I love the idea. We can go and fix this, put a Band-Aid on it. We can go in and make this like it was the day it was installed.
Mm-hmm.
Or we can go in and put it in like if this was a new house today,
Total
This is-
redesign.
this is what they
Yeah.
put in. It's going to be more efficient. It's going to do the job right. You're not going to have these problems. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, total redesign.
There's indoor air purifiers.
Mm-hmm.
There's UV purifiers.
Steam humidification,
Steam.
Yeah.
There's so many different
Yeah.
things out there.
zoning controls, whatever.
How do homeowners know this is really what I need? I love the new stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even just plumbing.
Yeah.
Toilets, bidet toilets, the way they flush. There's something new every
Yeah.
day. There's new pumps. There's pumps that now you can a toilet now that's got a pump, so you don't even have to have it tied into a sewer. It'll pump it over to wherever the sewer is.
Yeah.
So there's so many cool things out there, both sides. But indoor air purification is huge. I became a lead AP about 15 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
About 15 years ago. And it's a lot of it is about indoor air quality.
Mhm.
And then when I came in with Rescue Air, man, we talk about indoor air quality all the time.
Yeah.
What are smart upgrades for people if they're a homeowner that they should be looking at or asking about? And if they're an installer out there now and they work for a company that maybe is not on the front edge of all this.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we don't do indoor air quality. It's a scam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what's out there that people should really know about that can help make their lives better?
UV lights, the Patriot UV lights. There's a bunch of different stuff out there that could, reduce the mold and all that stuff that grows. I mean, with the humidity and the water and all that stuff, things are going to happen, so that's one thing. Water purity, water in Texas, we could look
Whole house water filtration systems are amazing.
Yeah.
To me, every plumbing company should be doing whole house water filtration systems.
Yeah.
Slab leaks, leak detection. It grows their bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
HVAC companies, indoor air quality, smart thermostats that people can turn off, on and off the AC at my house right now today, sitting right here.
Yeah.
A lot of companies don't want to do that.
Yeah, pretty much all of our installs are getting smart thermostats. I mean, if they're high end, of course, they get the S40s, the high end thermostat from Lennox, but pretty much all of them were installing smart thermostats on there. But it's really, what are the issues the customer's having? Well, this room doesn't get cold enough, or this, it's having those conversations on, hey, we could really deck this thing out. We could zone your system. We could do whatever and then go from there. Do they want to go with high-end equipment? High-end equipment gets tricked out. Yeah, the price goes up, but your electric bill is going to go down. Different stuff, the quality of life will increase. The humidity controls and all that stuff, improves. So there's a lot of stuff with the high-end equipment that the base models don't have, so to speak, but there's so many different technology stuff out there that can improve the quality of life.
And you mentioned it twice now, the quality of life. Even plumbing, bidet toilet seats.
Yeah.
You can't tell me you're not cleaner if you didn't wash your butt with water instead of just a piece of paper.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to throw that in there. But quality of life for HVAC, because, I've got allergy problems, sometimes breathing problems. They've always said it's gluten, but then I check gluten test, not allergic to gluten. Still try to eat gluten-free to breathe better, I think. But quality of life, why would an HVAC guy care about quality of life?
I mean,
we can fix it.
Improve it.
I'm not going to say fix it.
We can improve it, yeah. So ductwork, for instance. Most people, it's just the ducts that blow the air, but if the ductwork's compromised and there's a hole or anything, it's pulling dust and all kinds of stuff from the attic, going back through your system, killing your system, putting particles in the air, all that stuff. So ductwork's a big one. I think, if your ductwork's 20 to 25 years old, you may want to get it looked at and see what's going on up there, because, and especially if you're having airflow issues. If you're having airflow issues like this room, when we first moved in, it was perfect. Now I don't get any airflow. Well, your ducts are probably compromised in the attic. Something's going on up there, so getting that looked at. And a lot of, 20 to 25-year-old homes, I think ductwork needs to be revisited and really checked out. And that's where probably most of the problems are coming from.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're somebody like me. You've got a 2-story house. You got a lot of duct in between floors, stuff like that. How hard is it to change duct? Is that what needs to be done, or is it just cleaning it, or can it be both? Can it be the one?
It could be both. When we come across those situations with the ductwork running between the floors, and they're not getting airflow in that living room right there, how do we get into that situation?
Open up sheetrock.
Only way to do it is open up sheetrock, so the customer has to be okay with that, and if we find the problem and we fix it from there. If we're replacing ducts in the attic, we'll replace all accessible ducts. Once they start going into the walls, then we have that conversation on, so what we can do. Are you
here's how bad it is, or
and then take it from there. So
cool deal. Yeah, my house is about 23 years old. Yeah, so I know I'm right, and I've got a 2-story. It's right. I know a lot of my ducts are between the floors because master bedrooms, downstairs, bathrooms, laundry rooms, kitchen, stuff like that. So. Yeah, it's always a lot of fun to think, oh, God, I never want to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
Maybe time to sell. It's probably cheaper to replace the ducts, though.
Yeah.
Man, this has been fun.
Yeah.
I want you to go back and think of the day you walked out of your house to go to work in the trades, to go to work at the utility company.
Uh-huh.
If you could go back and stand there on your front porch today and see little Johnny when he came walking out the door, what advice would you give him? What would you tell him?
I'd say first day on the job, go grind and continue to grind until you make it,
It's not just till you make it, you still grind.
Yeah, hard work pays off. I know it's a cliche, but it really does. And you will be recognized, you will be noticed, and the growth will come. and don't get frustrated on how long it takes. That's it.
You make pretty good money.
I do okay.
Did you think when you were getting into the trades or HVAC, you'd make the kind of money you make now?
No.
It's surprising, isn't it?
It is very surprising. And some of, the money that some of these guys make, I'm like, man, what if I did join the military and I came straight in the trades, but I'm not holding any regret on that at all. But it's like, that 10 years, man, could have
moved me way on up the road. Yeah.
Maybe I'd be somewhere else, or maybe I wouldn't, who knows?
Exactly.
So,
I think we all end up where we're supposed to end up.
for sure. Yeah.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, this has been fun.
Yes.
It's been really good. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
It's something more people need to think about because it's a great way to grow up.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of these kids out of high school that, their parents have told them they're never amount to anything, so they just go to college and try to figure out what they want to do. I tell them, either go to the military or get in the trades.
Yeah.
Get in the trades for a couple of years and say, hey, this is something I don't want to do. My brother got into it for one summer, and I introduced him to a shovel, and he got to do a lot of digging.
Yeah.
But he also got to do a lot of plumbing. But along that summer, he said, I'm going to college.
Yeah.
And he's done very well. So, we're all different, but I don't like the idea of just going to college, not knowing what you're going to do.
No.
Then it's like if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
Mm-hmm.
And man, you can just go to college and say, like, I don't even know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. Yep.
Don't waste your time.
Nope.
Go learn a trade and learn how to fix stuff at your house.
Yeah.
Build a community where you can call people.
For sure.
John, it's been great. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Roger.